I think Alive Hospice helped to take a lot of the fear out of facing death of someone close to me.
My patients serve me as much as I serve them. I walk out of there with a gift every day.
One of the social workers here said to me, when you learn to trust us, you can go back to being his wife and not his caretaker. And I will
Absolutely.
forever remember those words.
We call ourselves Alive Hospice because we deal with the life. We make every minute as best it can possibly be. Death will take care of itself.
I think being alone is the thing that has most frightened me in life. The idea of being alone, and certainly the idea of being alone dying. It was remarkable to learn neither my father nor I had to be alone.
Alive Hospice creates a safe place to deal with death. It's more than a safe place, though. I'll tell you, it's almost a sacred place because we're allowed into families' lives when they're at their most vulnerable physically, emotionally, and spiritually, and we help them along their journey. End of life, it's a time for healing. We empower families to take the opportunity for self-reflection and to understand what their personal values are. We don't lead, we don't follow, but we're with them to help give them the strength along the way.
When I see someone from Alive who was present, who remembers my daughter, it warms my heart just to know here's a witness, here's someone who saw her life, who saw a little bit of it, who knows what she meant to us and remembers that. And that's an incredible gift.
It's really a privilege to be a part of that part of family's life, even though it's a short duration of interaction that we have with patients and their loved ones, but the intensity of it's immense.
We're on a journey. We are in relationship with each other. We're in relationship whether we're a doctor, a nurse, a patient, and trying to get to a point of peace.
It is the most bewildering, humbling, excruciating, changing, exquisitely beautiful at the same time thing I've ever been through. And what I do feel like Alive Hospice gave me and my family was context for it. There's that difference between feeling like you're absolutely floating out in space, untethered to the universe. But I feel like every now and then, because of this experience here, I get a little tug on that tether. And that reminds me that there's a place to go back to. It reminds me that I'm not forgotten. That I don't know how it's changed me, but it was there for me.
I don't wear gloves when I first touch them. I think it's an insult. I want to connect, because there's a person there. There's a human spirit there. We're not just atoms and cells. We are beings. The human experience is referenced through contact. You talked about being tethered. That tethered, when I touch, I might be that tethered. And by God, it's gonna be a sweet one that loves you, period.
I think that in medical training and medical practice in the last half century, the emphasis has been on diagnosing and treating and potentially curing disease. If a patient dies, it's natural to believe that I didn't take care of them well. And what I've determined is that all of my patients are going to die someday. It's critically important for them and for me to continue walking with them all the way through to the end. No matter what anyone's background is, who they are, what they've done, it's a sacred place to be near someone and with someone and walking with someone at the end of life.
It is an individual journey that we go on with our patients and families that we don't have any of the answers. The answers only can come from our patients and their families once they've had an opportunity to be able to fully explore where they are spiritually, where they are emotionally, and where they are physically.
If we can be here and we can be present and show up for each other, then that is the way that we have a profound effect in life. When we're here, when we're around us, that's sacred space. And for me, this is a good place to be.
Each and every member of the staff of the team, from the people who clean the rooms to aides to nurses, physicians, everybody gives love. I don't have any other word for it. I don't have any professional term for it, but it is love and compassion. I've seen so much compassion in these walls in the past 5 years that I probably have not seen in the medical community when I was working elsewhere.
This is a very loving place, not a pushy place. And when people ultimately make that decision, I think it's a beautiful thing. And then seeing people on the other side after someone passes away, to see them be able to come back into this facility and to be able to say thank you and to talk about love, that's amazing. I don't think you really get that in many other places.
You know, it's that holding, it's that touching, allowing a mom to be mom, you know, and a wife to be a wife, and a daughter to be a daughter, and not have to be a caretaker. And I think for families to be able to say, I love you enough. I mean, that's selfless love.
I really didn't even know about the facility until we entered it. And it was the most amazing experience when Jack died. As we moved his body out to the ambulance, they covered it with a quilt, and my son and I were here, and we started to go out through the hallway. And I turned around, and I didn't know it. There were about 10 healthcare providers, aides and nurses walking behind us. What more could you ask or expect in terms of how love is manifested?
Alive Hospice cared for my daughter Caroline, who died 8 years ago when she was 9, and they cared for my daughter Kate, who died last year at the age of 13. It's not a sad thing being in hospice care. It is wringing everything you can out of the last period of your life. And these are people who want to help you do that. It's hard to convey how much I laughed with our doctor and our nurse, and what delight they took in Kate acting silly, and there was just a lot of laughter. It couldn't change the outcome, but the process itself was so much more peaceful having hospice care around. It was all very much about more life, even though for my children, more life was not going to be a long life. But it was enhanced by people who showed me how to help them get the most out of the time that they did have.
Hospice is everything but hopeless. When I see what our staff give to our families, when I feel the hug of a family member and their thanks, frankly, for allowing us into their lives, how do you not work harder every day and every minute in order to be able to expand that so that all those who are in need, regardless of culture, regardless of socioeconomic status, regardless of diagnosis and age, that they can have this same sense of peace.
I remember one patient that I had, she had pancreatic cancer. She was legally blind. She sat there for a minute and she said, "How do I do this?" And I said, "You know, I don't know how you're gonna do this. I don't know how I'm gonna do this. What I do know is that we'll do it together."
Every time I leave here, I feel like I've learned something. I think I've learned a new respect for the process of death. I feel this sense of connection with the people that I see here on both sides of it, the people who work here and volunteer here, and the families, and the dying. To me, this is the most important thing I can do.